have in front of me here a UHF AV modulator from Perception that we stock on the tvtrade.ie website. I'll give you a quick overview. It comes in this box here. You can see the box itself, quite a small, neat box. And inside that box we have a digital display UHF AV modulator with a 3-pin plug. We have a SCAR to phono adapter, and we also have a pretty detailed instruction guide which gives an overview of this and also the technical logic behind the design of a SCART lead. Okay? And some safety instruction as well. So basically, anyway, I'll just cover the point of why we would need this product. Increasingly on the market we have videos, DVDs, satellite receivers and CCTV cameras that are coming with SCART outputs but not coming with RF outputs. And basically a SCART output is what you see on the back of this box here. A SCART lead would slot into the back of this box. And what we may need instead of this is an AV output or an RF output. So it's to be able to feed this signal into a cable like this. So on this particular device here, we take in a SCART lead here and would feed it out with an RF lead here, and it's an F-type connector on this particular one. So what we do is we would simply push this F connector on like this, and then we'd be able to feed this output to a secondary television, or indeed into a splitter to a number of different televisions. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to demonstrate a box here. We have a satellite receiver here, so we're going to demonstrate an example of how we'd use this and when we'd use it. We have a satellite receiver here which is connected to television with an RF output, or with a SCART lead. So if I actually disconnect the SCART lead here, we'll see the picture disappears. Okay, and I will quickly plug out this box for a moment and turn this box around. We'll see on the back of the box we have a SCART output. We have a feed from a satellite dish, but there's no RF output here, so there's no means on this box to feed this to a second television. Okay, so what I'll actually do at this particular point is I'll just get this, and I'm going to take the SCART lead that's running from this box into the television. Okay, I'm just going to disconnect it here, and I'm going to take this SCART output and I'm going to feed the output from this box into the modulator, and from the modulator to the television. Okay. So we'll just start off here, we'll just get the SCART lead here and we just insert it like this. So we can see a very simple process, just slot it in directly like that. So that's it, securely placed in. I'll plug the satellite box back in. And because now the satellite box is not connected to the television with a SCART lead, obviously there's no display on the television itself. So at this stage I pick up the modulator and I take the SCART lead from this particular box here and I feed it through. And I connect it into the AV input here, okay? And at this stage we pick up a cable that I've made already. So on one end of it I have an RF connector, or an F-type connector, and the other end of the RF lead I have a straightforward coaxial connector, okay? So what we do is we simply get it, and we pick up this point here, which is RF out, and we simply screw this in here. Now you'll see on this particular satellite receiver, or on this modulator, next to the RF out there's an RF in, and the reason there's an RF in here is which covers the full VHF UHF spectrum. If we had a situation where we had an aerial feeding in, for instance, the 4 Irish channels, this signal would be fed in here and the output of this satellite receiver would be added into the signal. So on the cable out would actually have 5 channels, the 4 Irish that were originally fed in on an RF cable, and on the output would be the 4 Irish plus the satellite output. Okay. Now we'll lift down this television to this point. Now this television normally obviously would be in a secondary location. So we see here in the back of the television the SCART connection that we would have used for connecting the satellite receiver, and in this situation we're going to actually use an RF connector here. So we connect it in here and it says antenna, or it could say antenna in, and we simply connect it at this point. Okay? So we put this into position here like this, we come along, and at this point we can plug in this modulator. Now this modulator by default, when you take it out of the box, will automatically default on channel 21. Okay? So what I'm going to come along now is I'm simply going to hit the source button on my television and set it to TV here, which corresponds to RF channels. And you can see here, even though it's connected, we don't have any picture on the screen, and that's because the television has not yet been tuned in to channel 21, which would correspond to this. So on this channel, the number of channels you can select is from channel 21, which is the start of the UHF spectrum, all the way up to channel 69. So what we'll do here is we come along, and this will vary from television to television, but you normally hit the menu button, and you scroll over as far as the installation menu. And we come down here and we can see that this channel here is set to channel 22. So if we set it to channel 21 and come down, now we can see the output from that particular box is on our television, okay? Now we might decide that channel 21 is not a great channel for us to select because maybe there's some other piece that's in, this could be part of an integrated system where we have DVDs, televisions, CCTVs. So that channel 21 might be used by an alternate channel or an alternative piece of equipment. So we might make a decision, we want to change it to a different frequency, maybe channel 23, okay? Now if we come along here and we try to change channels by pressing the button here, it won't change first because we certainly don't want people or children accidentally changing the channels because suddenly the picture on this will disappear. So a very neat little feature in this is that to change channels, we first of all have to push in the two buttons, and you can see the channels flicking then, and now we can, change it up to channel 23, and it just locks in position then. So once again, now what I'll do is I pick up the remote control as previously, I press the menu button, I come down here, we can see it's set to channel 21, and now I'm going to flick it to channel 23, and at that the picture reappears, okay? So, I mean, it's very things to this. Now, there used to be old analog versions of this, which had little display buttons where you pushed down a little pegs, and you know, you looked up a binary code to see exactly what channel you were selecting. So this is a huge improvement on this. You know, it's almost totally free of interference. I find this a great piece of equipment and very widely used in the industry, and also that by DIYers as well, who have a piece of equipment like a satellite receiver and simply want to run the signal to a second room. Now, there's one limitation to this particular device that's overcome by another piece of equipment that I'm just quickly going to display at the end. And that is, if you want to use the sky eye or an infrared detector in the second room, and this would allow, the purpose of this would be not alone to allow you to view the picture in another room, but actually to change channels in the second room, which is not possible with this particular device. The alternative to this would be to use a product called a Trilink, which is somewhat more expensive than this modulator here, but not alone does it modulate the signal, it also, when I say modulate, turns the signal from an AV output to a SCART, to an RF output, but it also gives it a 9-volt signal, which means that if I'm in a secondary location viewing it, I can actually take the remote control from the original receiver, which in this case would be the satellite receiver, and use the remote control in the other room to change channels. So that could be advantageous, but not always necessary. So you may want to invest the extra money in that, but that'd be a choice for yourself. So that's it from beginning to end, an overview of the UHF AV modulator.